everyone, thank you so much for joining with me. I just wanted to share with you the important lesson that I learned in 2020. Now, if we were to consider 2020 a year of famine or a year of drought, we know that if we have a famine or a drought, then when we sow a seed, we wouldn't gain any harvest, or we wouldn't be able to reap a harvest. But in the Bible, it's clearly said that those who sow will reap, and whatever they sow, they will reap. And if we also see in 2 Corinthians, it's also said that those who reap, I mean, those who those who sow sparingly will reap sparingly, and those who sow abundantly will reap abundantly. Now, what does that? Now, what does this mean? Now, a seed can be anything. It can be your time. It can be your energy. It can even be your money or wealth. Now, today I just want to talk about sowing your money. Now, giving to God is something which I learned in 2020, and I tried practicing as much as I can to sow in 2020. Now, there are so many benefits of giving to God, giving the money that the Lord has given us to God. Now, I'm not asking you to give everything that you have, but how much ever the Lord leads you to give to is very important. And the moment God puts a thought of giving to someone in your heart, I hope that you all learn the importance of immediate obedience, because even delayed obedience is still disobedience. So obeying the word of the Lord when He asks you to give to a particular church, it could be to the same church you're going, the church that is spiritually benefiting you, or it could be some person or a family you know who's struggling financially and God is motivating you to give to that person, or it could be an organization which you know is doing good to the people and God has put it on your heart to give them. So even though it seems like a drought, even though it seems like a season of drought and like season of famine, it's very important for us to sow the seed. Now I just want to give two examples from the Bible where people have sowed even during a drought and famine, and they have reaped much more than what they sowed. Now the first example is from 1 Kings chapter 17. Now this passage, I think many of us would be familiar with it, but I just want to narrate the story. So in 1 Kings chapter 17, what happens is that prophet Elijah, he declares a drought or a period of famine over Israel. And there is this particular small village in which there was a poor widow living, and she didn't have much to go on during that famine and drought. So she decided to make a last meal for herself and her son, and she was preparing to starve to death. But what happens is that Elijah was motivated by God to go into this village and to help out this widow. Now, when this widow meets Elijah, the first thing that she does was to greet him, and then Elijah asks her for a glass of water, and then she was more than happy to help him out. But then later he said, "Bring me a morsel of bread." At that point, she didn't know what to say, and she says, "As Lord is my witness, I do not have any flour to make bread. I just have a handful of flour. I was just thinking of making the last meal for myself and my son." And for that, Elijah replied, saying that whatever you make sure that you bring a small piece of cake or small piece of that bread to me first. And I tell you that God is going to bless you for what you are doing. And now when Elijah asked her to do this, she followed his instructions and gave a small portion of that bread or cake to Elijah. Now, by doing this, we realize that she's sowing a seed into Elijah. She has set apart whatever she thought she could spare, or whatever she thought she should give to the Lord, and she gave it to the Lord. So by giving to the Lord's prophet, she sowed even during the time of famine and drought. The second example which I want to give you guys is from Genesis chapter 26. Now if we read this chapter, it shows us that there was a drought or a famine in the land in which Isaac was dwelling. And because of that, he wanted to go to Egypt so that he can run away from this drought or famine. But the Lord told him to stay with among the Philistines in Gerar. And what happens is that if we read in Genesis chapter 26 verse 12, it says that in the same year, in this year of drought and famine, Isaac sowed a seed. Isaac sowed and he reaped 100 times. Now, we understand that even though there was a drought and famine going all over the place, he still believed in the Lord and sowed the seed, and because of which he reaped 100 times more than what he sowed. Now we can see that they sowed in the time of famine and drought, and yet they were able to reap 100 times more than what they sowed. Now what does that mean for us? It means that when we sow or when we give a part of our money that we have to those who are in need, to people who need it, or to the church that you are going to, or to the organization that is doing a lot of good to other people, now that is a seed that you are sowing. I know it's a very difficult time, and a message like this saying that you should give the money that you have, or whatever remaining amount of money you have left, is not a joke, and I don't take it lightly. But if we see in Proverbs chapter 11 verse 24, it said that there is one who scatters yet increases more, and there is one who withholds more than is right, but it leads to poverty. Now it's clearly stated in the Bible that if you sow abundantly, you would reap abundantly. But if you sow sparingly, you will only reap sparingly. So now here are a few things to remember when you are planning to give, or if you are motivated by the Lord to give to someone. The first and foremost is to pray about it. If the Lord puts in your heart to give a portion of your money, let's say if all you have is 5,000 in your bank account, and if the Lord is motivating you to give to someone who is in much more need of money than you, then pray about it. Ask God to which church you must give, or to which organization you must give, or to which family, or to which person you must give, or God will show you someone who needs the money, or he will take you to the person who needs the money and he'll put you right there. So the first thing you need to do is to pray about it. The second thing is make your seed a significant one. So when I say make a significant seed, it means that something which is going to affect you. The third thing you need to do after you've decided to give your significant amount of seed is to pray about it. Because God doesn't want your money. Let me make that very clear. God doesn't want our money. He doesn't need our money also. But He's using us as a channel to bring blessing into someone else's life. And when they receive their blessing, you can be a part of their blessing too. So that is the reason why God encourages us to give money, to be a part of the blessing, and to be a blessing in someone else's life. Now that's amazing, right? To be a blessing to someone and to be a part of their blessing is an amazing thing. That's the third thing. Pray about your blessing. Pray about that the money that you're going to give would be a blessing to them as well. Fourth and the important thing is be a cheerful giver. Don't grumble when you're giving. Don't make a face when you're giving, because even if you were to give 100% of your savings, if your heart is not in the right place, then it wouldn't be a blessing to the person that you're giving, and it wouldn't be a blessing to you too, because God sees our hearts and He wants to know if our hearts are in the right place or not. So I urge you all to be cheerful givers, and the more you give, the more God will bless you. And I just want to finish off by saying that millionaires and billionaires are generous givers, and the reason why, if you ask them, they've become billionaires or millionaires, they say that it's because, first thing, because of their gratitude they have towards God, and second thing is that they were generous in their giving. I really hope that this video has encouraged you to start this year by giving to the Lord. Whoever the Lord guides you to or leads you to, make a significant seed and be a blessing in someone else's life. And I really hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do consider subscribing for my channel, and if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you.